Hello, BookTube. I come to you from the middle of the apocalypse. It's the apocalypse here in Boston. Darkest night, violent thunder and lightning, lashing rain. Who knows how long it'll last? It's my little puppy's very first thunderstorm. And it came, as predicted, for every once in a while the weather forecast systems actually work. All day long was bright and fluffy white clouds and hot and humid. Just a deliciously beautiful early preview of summer. And then the darkness rolled in. The passing cars on the street have their streetlights on. And I don't know, I can't really tell if this is just a glancing blow, if it's the beginning of a system that has large pockets in it that will keep coming. The pictures online on social media from New York City are every bit as apocalyptic. Which means the two practical things. One, I was able to do errands today in perfect comfort because I got them done before the storm hit. It was perfectly dry and nice, and that's good because I have let buying shoes go so long that the shoes I'm wearing are completely open to the elements. So any hint of rain or water or puddles or anything like that, even a heavy dew, and I'd be walking around in wet stockings. And B, I have kept a close eye on the front porch because sometimes I get mail every day. Of course, I get book packages, and I don't want them sitting out in the pouring rain. Well, I have a deep porch, but even so, if the rain is slanted, then you're going to get wet packages. And even though I was keeping a close eye on things, so my mail truck driver, he stopped by and rang the bell, and was in a cheerful mood. He only has 3 packages left to do. That's just as well, because you could hardly see. It was raining so hard. He said, life is dear. I've got my gear. God is near. But while we were talking, we noticed that there was a package on the floor, on the porch, just being pelted with rain. Some delivery earlier, mailman or whatever, had come by and just thought, so I managed to say it's only a few packages here, but I thought we'd go through them as the thunder and lightning falls outside. Starting with this one. What is this here? Oh, great. Okay. We've actually seen this on this channel before. Wonderful. This is the second copy of... it comes out in early June. It's by John Layman, and it's a second copy of Oceans Ventured, Winning the Cold War at Sea. A study of the Cold War naval operations, which was a large part of the military operations that took place over decades of the Cold War. I thought it was really good, so I'm glad to have a second copy. That's great. Okay, and then we've got this great big thing here. It's got to be a kid's book. It is a kid's book. It's the second copy. All right, this is my second duplicate. This is by Yuval Zolmer. This is the Big Book of Blue. It's a huge kids book about the oceans that just has. It keeps them involved. Can you find such and such on such a page? Can you draw a distinction between these two different kinds of things? And it's all marine life. And when I posted on my hopping Instagram account, which, I don't get a chance to say it on Instagram, of course, but here I can say it. Thank you very much, all of you, for following me on Instagram. It's so much fun in another social media venue. I know that I read all these books. I read books, one book every month, at least, by some new expert saying that social media is corrosive, that it burns at your eyeballs and your brain like acid, that you should divest yourself completely, that it's all wrong. Gotta confess, I'm not actually seeing that in my own use of it. Maybe I'm doing social media wrong. But like for instance, Instagram, it's a wonderful way to share pictures. I don't see anything wrong with it myself. Maybe I'm not seeing the parts that these experts are talking about. But when I posted a picture of this book on Instagram, a lot of people sent me emails asking, I saw that book on Instagram. Does it have sharks? And the answer is yes. It has plenty of sharks. You couldn't make a kid's book about the ocean without having sharks in it. Well, that's wonderful. That's fantastic. Wow, and it turns out I didn't notice this before, this is a series that this same author has done. He did the Big Book of Bugs, and the Big Book of Beasts, which I do not have. I wonder if I can get those. But anyway, that's great. All right, so not only 2 duplicates, but two oceanic duplicates. Where are we going to put these things? Let's put them over here. And then this is the soggy package. Oh my, it's all wobbly. It's so drenched in water. Let's see. Okay, this is a June release? Yeah, this is also early June. I did not request this. This is by Gavin Francis, and it is Shapeshifters, A Journey Through the Changing Human Body. Okay, let me hold that up for you so you have something to look at, other than my smallpox scars, while I tell you about it. What is this thing? That's what the book is. Transformation is one of the most ancient and resonant themes in literature and art, the central theme of my very favorite book. 2,000 years ago in the Metamorphoses, okay, there we go, in the Metamorphoses, the Latin poet Ovid, please, the Roman poet Ovid, painted nature and mankind as a seething maelstrom where all matter, animate and inanimate, was caught up in cycles of change, like pliant wax, which, stamped with new designs, does not remain as it was or keep the same shape. Everything is in a state of flux and comes into being as a transient appearance. Ovid closed his poem with a declaration of the fraternity of life and a passionate plea to treat all beings with compassion. That compassion, too, is at the heart of clinical practice. Medicine could be described as the alliance of science with kindness. Oh, that's awesome. That's incredible. Whoever wrote this pub sheet has earned their pay for the month. Oh, the alliance of science with kindness. In this book, physician Gavin Francis celebrates dynamism and transformation in human life, both as a way of thinking about the body and as a universal truth. The great cavalcade of the cosmos is in evolution around us. The universe is expanding, the gyre of the galaxy spinning, the Earth wheels through its orbit, and the moon gets more distant with every year. A tilt in our planet's axis gives us the swing of the seasons. More than 1 trillion tides have already rinsed the Earth's shore. Okay, all right. We clearly have someone who wants to write a book of their own. This is wonderful. The churn of plate tectonics is renewing the crust of the Earth. Quote, nothing stays the same for long, close quote, is a truism that, depending on your perspective, is either a curse or a consolation. You can't step into the same river twice, said Heraclitus, because our bodies are ceaselessly renewed even as each river's water are renewed. Okay, I don't want to interrupt you, Shakespeare, but are we getting around to the book? No, there's more and more paragraphs. There's more and more paragraphs. Okay, let's... not that it's not wonderful, but let's try and find a little bit about the book. Here we go. Okay. Shapeshifters examines the transformations that animate our human lives. Some we effect on our bodies through will. We may choose to pump up our muscles, tattoo our skin, mortify, pierce, or otherwise refashion ourselves. Some we welcome, a much-wanted pregnancy, a cancer cured, a long-awaited transition to another gender, the fitting of a new limb after an amputation. We may find ourselves turning down dark paths towards the cruel distortions of anorexia or the shifting sands of memory loss. New technologies can upgrade us, and even without them, our bodies can transform in rare, almost magical ways. Psychosis, dreaming, epilepsy, and even laughter transport us to other states of being. Okay, all right. Well, that certainly sounds fascinating. Interesting. So if I had known about this, I would probably have requested it. That's wonderful. All right, let's move on. That's great. And then our last thing is a box, a big, heavy box. So I always like boxes because they're usually big books. And Steve likes big books. So what have we got here? Oh, fantastic. All right, great. This is indeed a big book. This comes out at the very end of May, so I'm probably gonna count it as a June book. And it's great. It's a great book. Will be one of the best nonfiction works of 2018. It well warrants your time if you're the least bit interested. So I'm glad to have a nice finished copy. This is She Has Her Mother's Laugh by Carl Zimmer. What we think we know what heredity is, but in reality we think about it in terms that are obsolete. In his brilliant, groundbreaking new book, The author, preeminent science writer Carl Zimmer, explores the ancient and modern definitions of heredity. Our understanding of the word heredity has shaped the ways in which humans have lived in the world throughout history. And over the past century, we've come to define heredity as the genes that parents pass down to their children. But heredity is so much more than a simple passing of genetic information. It continues inside each of us as a single cell gives rise to a pedigree of trillions of cells that make up our bodies. Moreover, heredity exists beyond genes. The microbiome, epigenetics, and most importantly, human culture all play key roles. We need a new definition of heredity to help us navigate a world of 20th century biotechnology that has the potential to alter future generations. With a surprise on almost every page, from the first use of the Latin word hereditas by the Romans to Darwin's theory and Mendel's law, from the deeply disturbing rise of eugenics in the 20th century to revelations regarding the microbiome and epigenetics, all the way to rapid-fire rise of CRISPR, gene editing technology. She Has Her Mother's Laugh is both a landmark in biology and a lively tapestry of human stories. It is poised for transgenerational life in our cultural ecosystem. And what that last line is meant to say is that this is a book that will be read for generations, and I agree. This goes on the same shelf with The Emperor of All Maladies, a handful of other great popular science medical books. And the description is right. There's a surprise on every page, but there's also a delight on every page. I cannot recommend this book strongly enough. So I'm so glad to have a finished copy. That is wonderful. Okay, so that was not a bad mail haul in the middle of an apocalypse. So we have the finished copy of She Has Her Mother's Laugh, which you should all read. And we have Shapeshifters about the all that poetry that you heard about the flowing stream that is the human body. Then Oceans Ventured, about the Cold War at sea. And lastly, I won't put it on the pile here, the big Book of the Blue. All the stuff about the ocean. How wonderful. So that's it. That is my middle of a thunder and lightning mail haul that I managed to save from the deluge. And I'm gonna wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.